What is the difference between a business and a brand? It's not just a logo, a catchy tagline, or even a strong product lineup. The real magic lies in what we call brand strategy. So today we're going to be breaking it all down: what brand strategy is, what it's not, why it matters, and how it can completely transform your business. So if you've ever felt like your efforts are kind of scattered, or your brand isn't resonating or communicating the way you want it to, this episode is for you. So let's get right into it. Welcome to Purposeful Presence, the podcast all about empowering you to elevate your brand presence so that you can attract the customers and the opportunities that you deserve. I'm your host, Coach MJ. I'm a brand strategist, graphic designer, author, event producer, and keynote speaker. And I'm so excited to have you joining us here for the second episode of our second season, but it's the first season of our rebranded version of this podcast. So before we get into today's episode, I am excited to announce the release of the new book that I have published, and I co-authored it with 8 of my fellow phenomenal business leaders. The book is called Breaking Through: Startup Stories from Trailblazing Black Women Entrepreneurs, and it is a comprehensive guide written by a bunch of courageous African-American founders, giving you practical advice, inspirational narratives, and actionable strategies for how you can launch or scale your new business. So if you are considering starting a business, or if you are in the beginning stages, or even if you aren't an entrepreneur, but you are looking to experience a breakthrough in any area of your life, whether it's health, wealth, career, your relationships, your mental well-being, whatever that is, this book is for you, because principles are principles and they apply across the board. Pre-order your copy right now at melaниehunter.com/breaking through. That's how you can pre-order your copy of our book. Is out. I wish I had a copy in front of me, but I'm still waiting on one of them to come in the mail. It's running late because of the weather we are having in our area. If you would like to join us for our book launch celebration on January the 26th, which is a Sunday, you can get that information at melaниehunter.com/breaking through, as well as pre-ordering your copy of the book. And it does make a great gift. So even if it's not something that you are looking for, pick up a copy, glance at it. I guarantee you're going to wish you had a copy, and then give it to somebody else. Okay. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, first, we want to talk about what brand strategy is. So at its core, brand strategy is the cohesive plan that aligns your branding, which is your visual identity. That's your logo, your colors, your fonts. And so the brand strategy marries your branding with your marketing, how you communicate with your audience across all touch points. That's your brand voice, and all of the ways that you show up on not only social media, it can be print media, it can be, television, radio, all the places where you connect with your audience. Your marketing is how you communicate with them. So think of it, your brand strategy, as the blueprint of how your business shows up in the world and how it connects with the people that you are here to serve. So a strong brand strategy ensures that every aspect of your business, from your website to your customer service, that's a really big one, to your social media posts, everything works together seamlessly to convey a clear and compelling message. That's what makes people trust you. That's what makes people remember you. That's what ultimately makes them choose you over the other people in the same market that you are in, that we commonly think of as competitors. Being consistent in your social media, on your website, so that as people move through your ecosphere, they're having a consistent experience. That's what makes people trust you and makes them want to buy whatever it is you're selling or engage in whatever experience you are providing. So let's take, for example, Starbucks. Their strategy, okay, if you had to say what Starbucks is, like if you just had to describe what they are, put it in the chat. What would you describe Starbucks as? Most people would write they're a coffee shop. At their core, Starbucks is a coffee shop, but they are not just about selling coffee. They are about an experience. They are about creating what they have termed a third place between home and work. So home is a place, work is a place, and Starbucks wants to be that third place in between. So that desire to be that third place is reflected in everything: their logo, the way they design their stores, the music that they play, and even the barista who is writing your name on the cup, and the experience they want you to have, the way that they talk to you. All of that is intentional. That is what brand strategy looks like in action. So if Starbucks, think about it. If Starbucks did not have that focus only, if they focused only on coffee quality, but they ignored the store experience, do you think that they would be the behemoth that they are today? They might still be in business wherever they started out, but I don't know if they would be as ubiquitous as they are if they did not focus on doing something more than selling coffee. You can probably think about some places in your local community that just sell coffee. I know I can think of some small, locally owned, and not even just locally owned, some major chains, and they're excelling at what they do, right? So it's not that they're not doing well at what they're intending to do, but they are not known for being a place where you can experience something. They're just known for in and out, get coffee. But that's not what Starbucks does. And that's where their brand strategy is at work. So now let's talk about what brand strategy is not. This is where a lot of entrepreneurs get it wrong. For one, brand strategy is not just your logo. It's not just a logo. It's not just a set it and forget it situation where you pick a font, you slap it on your website and call it a day. That is not what brand strategy is. It's also not the same as hiring a publicist or running an ad campaign. Those are tactics, not strategies. So let's make sure we understand the difference. Hiring a publicist to take care of your media and how you look on those media channels and dealing with negative situations and kind of putting the spin on things. That's what a publicist does. Their work can be important, but that's not brand strategy. That is a tactic that brand strategy will have you to do. Hey, I'm going to hire a publicist to make sure that this brand image that we're putting out here stays clean and stays consistent. Running an ad campaign, that is a tactic that can be a part of your brand strategy. We reach out to our customers to find new ones using ad campaigns. Now, here's another misconception about brand strategy. Thinking brand strategy is only for big companies. I say this all the time. If the big companies do it, you need to do it. Now, there are some things that big companies do, that big brands do, that you don't need to do, right? Such as maybe hiring a big team. First of all, you don't have the capacity. If you're a solopreneur or you're running a small business, you don't have the capacity to do what the big dogs do. They may have to liaise more. They may have to liaise more with maybe the government, depending on what they do, or they may have to have more of a legal framework within their business. Some of the bigger companies, you may not have to do that. But when it comes to establishing your brand, if you see big companies doing it, you need to be doing it. Whether you're a solopreneur or you're running a small business with a tiny team, having a strategy is even more important for you because it ensures that every dollar and every minute that you spend is aligned with your vision and your goals. So I want you to think of your brand as a puzzle. And as soon as I got to this place in my notes, I realized I did not remember to bring my visual aid. But think of your brand as a puzzle. Every piece, now I want you to imagine I've got puzzle pieces up here, okay? Every piece of the puzzle, your logo, your website, your social media posts, your customer service experience, and even your packaging, those are the puzzle pieces. Without a strategy, these pieces will feel disconnected. A brand strategy is the picture on the box. The picture on the box that the puzzle comes in, that's your brand strategy that ties it all together and shows you what you are creating with all these pieces. So I hope that makes sense. It's going to guide you on how to fit everything together seamlessly. So for instance, if you think about a skincare brand's packaging, their tone of voice, their Instagram aesthetics, they should all reflect their values. For example, if their values are eco-friendliness and luxury, that should be reflected in how their posts look. Their posts should use colors and fonts and layouts and imagery that denotes luxury, if that's the type of brand that they are. Okay, so you're bringing that cohesiveness together. Those puzzle pieces are all tied together with your strategy that says, here's our values, here's our image, here's what we want to keep consistent. Okay, so why does brand strategy matter? Well, for one thing, it creates alignment. When your brand reflects your values, your vision, and your purpose, it's easier to make decisions on the inside of your company, right? Because you run them through the filter of your values, your vision, and your purpose. You're going to also attract the right customers. Your customers need to be crystal clear about who you are looking for. So when your customer shows up, your ideal customer, it should be clear to them that they're in the right place. And when all your non-ideal customers show up, they should be repelled by everything you do because they're not your ideal customer. Your brand strategy and your everything that you do should speak only to the people you are wanting to serve, and everybody else should be turned off. Now, it doesn't mean they have to be offended or anything necessarily to that extreme, but they should definitely be like, that's not a place for me. That's not for me. That brand, that particular company, I'm not shopping there because that's just, I don't fit in there, right? It will also, having a brand strategy will also help you stand out in a crowded market. Here's what's true, especially in the online market, but even before we had online markets, market is not always necessarily saturated depending on what you do, but it's full of people. It's full of voices. Think about all the commercials that run on TV or on YouTube, and all the ads on Facebook and on Instagram and on TikTok and on all the other platforms. And then there's radio and there's regular television. There's billboards. There's people that talk to potential customers in person. There's a lot of noise out there. And the way to help yourself stand out in that crowded market is to have a brand strategy. People can tell when a brand is authentic and consistent, and they will reward you with loyalty. Second, your brand strategy is a growth driver. So a clear strategy gives you the focus to invest your time and resources wisely. You're not going to be wasting energy on random stuff. Oh, we're going to hop on TikTok because everybody's over there. Well, does that make sense for your brand strategy? Is that where your people are? Is that where, does that, the branding of that platform, or the feel and look of that platform, is that aligning with your brand strategy? See, if you don't have a brand strategy, you won't know how to answer that. But if you do, you will know. There are some brands that are on every platform. There are some brands that are only on a couple. Right now, I have a presence on multiple platforms because of the nature of what I do. There are people that I need to reach that are on all of those platforms. However, I am actually in the process of scaling off of one of the platforms because it's not giving me what I want. The people that are there, sometimes you have to experiment. That's how you find out. The people that are there are not the people I'm looking for. So I'm not going to spend time and energy on random tactic or doing my tactics over there. Everything you do works toward the same goal when you have a solid brand strategy. So I want you to think about, now I lost my, wow, I'm not doing well today with my my props. My phone, which is usually with me at all times, is not here. But I want you to think about Apple. Their strategy is all about simplicity, innovation, and premium quality. That's their brand, right? That's their strategy. That's why their products connect seamlessly. So if you have an iPad and you have an iPhone and you have a Mac, at the click of a button, what you're looking at on your iPhone can appear on your Mac. What's on your Mac can appear on your tablet. They work seamlessly together. They've got connected operating systems. It's not tough to move from one to the other. It's about simplicity. Their stores have that clean, minimalist vibe. I was at an Apple store a couple months back, I guess it was, and everything is just white and cool because all the surfaces are cool. It's like that marble or that granite looking surfaces. It's very clean. There's not a whole lot of, there's no pictures to speak of in there. If there are any, it's very few. Everything is just sleek. That's intentional. That's not by accident, because that's speaking to simplicity and innovation. And their advertising is straightforward, yet it's impactful. And then I'll just say their packaging. It matches the store, white with black writing. It almost looks like back in the day when they would depict products on commercials before they would just flat out say the name of the other company that they're going against. Generics, they would just show a generic box, white with black, or even generic food in the grocery store would be like a white box with black writing. That's kind of what their packaging looks like, except they're not saying they're generic. They're just saying simplistic, minimalist. But it gets your attention. Their strategy is why they're not just selling products. They are creating an experience. Every time you walk in the Apple store, there's a long line from the time they're open to the time they close, right? So You want to make sure that your strategy will ensure consistency across every touch point that you have with your ideal customers. So when you implement a brand strategy, the benefits are endless. Like we've talked about quite a few. You will elicit customer trust and loyalty, which is so important. Think about the people that love Apple. Now, I happen to also have a Samsung, so I've got Apple and Android. One I use for my business. Android I use for my business. The Apple is my personal device. But people are fiercely loyal to Apple because they've come to trust them and depend on them to consistently deliver what they say they're going to deliver. And they do that every time. So people buy from brands that they trust. A strong, consistent brand strategy builds that trust over time. And it's not always a long period of time. Apple's been around for a long time, but they have had that trust and that brand loyalty for a number of years, and it just gets stronger and stronger. Even though they have a smaller percentage of the marketplace, you would think that they had a 50% share based on how people defend and uplift that particular brand. So that's one of the benefits of having a brand strategy is customer trust and loyalty. Another one is clarity and focus for you. You will know exactly what to prioritize and what to let go of. I am a big fan of having a decision filter to help me know what to say yes to and what to say no to. Part of my decision filter for me personally are my 5 core values: confidence, authenticity, adventure, wellness, and freedom. If something comes up in life and it does not align with at least one of those values, it's a no for me, whether it's a relationship with a person, a friendship, a dating relationship, something with a family member, whatever that is, any type of relationship out in the community, a business partnership, a customer who wants to hire me. It has to align with those core values. And of course, I understand my core values at a deep level and in great detail. So I know how to say yes or no based on my core values alone. And so that's, you have to have something. Like, it may not be just your core values. It may be something else. It may be a look. It may be a sound. All of it needs to tie together to help you to make decisions. Another benefit of having a brand strategy is increased revenue. So consistency and connection lead to more sales and higher lifetime value from your customers. I was remarking to someone just yesterday about, we were talking about business goals and number of customers needed to reach such and such a goals. And we were looking at those numbers and realizing that a lot of the people who buy one item also will buy another thing and another thing from you. Think about how many times you've gone back to the same store over and over to buy clothes. I think everybody does that. You find that they have the right size, the right price point. Every time you go in there, you know how to find things. That's brand loyalty, and that is increasing revenue. They don't have to win your business over and over again. They have to keep it by staying consistent. There it is again. But they've already won your business one time, and you keep going back. It's that high lifetime values when people buy multiple. So you're not winning 1,000 customers every year. You might just win 100 of them, and each of them buys from you 10 times. That has the same revenue impact without having to do the work of finding as many people who want to engage with your company. And then another benefit of having a brand strategy is competitive advantage. I alluded to competitors earlier. A clear brand strategy will set you apart from businesses that are just winging it. And I see people out in the marketplace winging it. If you're winging it, no shade, but we got something for you at the end. So keep listening, because I'm gonna have an opportunity for you to stop winging it and start being intentional about your brand strategy. So you will be able to stand out from your competitors who are just like kind of out here, and you don't know what to expect each time they show up, because they're showing up different every time. Nobody likes that. It feels chaotic and it feels suspicious and suspect. Like, I don't want you to get my credit card number because you don't even know what you're doing half the time. That's the impression it gives when your brand strategy is non-existent, even if that's not true, even if you have a quality product. So if you're feeling stuck, I want you to start small. I want you to write down what your brand stands for and how you want people to feel when they interact with your business. And then I want you to start aligning your actions to reflect that. So this is your first call to action. If you are feeling stuck in your brand, you don't know what to do, just start writing down. Okay, first of all, you may need to think about some brands that you love engaging with, and then think about how you would describe what their brand stands for. Is it loyalty? Is it quality? Is it fun? Is it comfort? What is it that brand stands for? And then how do they make you feel when you interact with them? That might get your juices flowing to then say, how do I want people to feel? If I had to choose one or two words that I want people to always say, yeah, such and such a company, such and such LLC, I can count on them for such and such, whether maybe it's a bargain price, maybe it's a luxury experience, whatever that is. And then how you want people to feel. Write that down. And then I want you to start aligning your actions to reflect that brand strategy. So let's wrap up with some relatable examples to bring this all home. So first of all, I want you to apply what I'm calling the elevator pitch test. We've all heard about the elevator pitch. If somebody asks you what your brand does, can you explain it in one clear, compelling sentence? If not, it's time to refine your strategy. You should not have to talk for 30 seconds or a minute or longer to describe what you do. It should be able to be said, in my opinion, in 10 to 15 seconds. That's the whole point of an elevator pitch. You don't have long in between floors to communicate. And so if you can't say your brand, describe what your brand does in one clear and compelling statement, it's time for you to refine. So, for example, Nike's pitch could be, we inspire and equip athletes at every level to achieve their personal best. It took me several seconds to say that. They're inspiring and equipping athletes, so we know who and what they're doing at every level in order to what? Achieve their personal best. That's very clear. So that having a strong brand strategy ensures that you have a sharp, memorable response that encapsulates your identity and your value. Another example. So if you think about a local boutique in your city, try to picture one if you know of any boutiques that specialize in affordable luxury for working women. Their strategy dictates not just what they sell, which is clothing and accessories, but how they market. Instagram posts would be featuring polished yet practical outfits and in-store style consultations. These are just examples, right? So you got a small boutique owner with a clear brand strategy that's focusing on affordable luxury for women. They're going to make sure that they're not just showing things where the working woman comes by and says, that looks like that's too expensive. Because even if their products are affordable, if they look like they're not affordable, people aren't going to go there and even give it a chance if it looks too luxurious. So you have to have a way of explaining, whether it's the image itself, whether it's the words in the ads and in the copy that you send, some kind of way you have to communicate in that example that it's an affordable luxury for working women, and everything about your brand needs to reflect that, because you only get one time to make a first impression and to capture people and to stop the scroll. So you've got to be consistent. And then a last example that's going to be familiar to everybody is Amazon's obsession with what? Convenience. Everything Amazon does, from having one-click purchases to Prime shipping. Comment in the chat if you have Prime shipping. You like that 1 to 2 days, receiving your items. That aligns with their brand strategy of delivering the ultimate convenience. There's actually right down the street from me, less than 5 minutes away, an Amazon distribution center. And I remember when they first opened, I was thinking, man, I wish I could just go there and pick stuff up, because it's right there. I wouldn't even have to wait. I drive past, I'm a block away from driving past there every day. And lo and behold, they eventually developed the locker system where they leave the stuff in the locker that's outside their distribution center. Then you can go right there and pick up your item. Sometimes I can pick it up faster than it can get to my house, usually a day difference. That's the ultimate inconvenience. And so that's their strategy, fast shipping. And every decision reinforces their core promise, which is deliver anything you need as quickly and as seamlessly as possible. Without this alignment, they would not be the e-commerce giant that they are today. When they first came out, it was always a big deal about shipping and returns and how do you do it. Now that people like Amazon have broken through those barriers and figured out how to make it to where you can get something delivered to your house quicker than you can go to the store to get it, they've changed the game, and they're going to be unstoppable. They already are unstoppable, right? Those are examples. The elevator pitch test, the local boutique example, and then Amazon's obsession with convenience. Those are examples of brand strategy at work. So what's your next step? It's time for you to stop winging it. Start building a brand strategy, okay? It needs to align with your vision. It needs to connect with your audience, and it needs to set you up for long-term success, not just in the short term. So remember, a business without a strategy is just a collection of ideas. A brand with a strategy, completely unstoppable. Completely unstoppable. So, if you would like personalized guidance on building a strong brand strategy that aligns with your vision and your goals, I want to invite you to schedule a complimentary call with me at calendly.com/I am Coach MJ. When we get on the call, it's a free call. We'll get on there and we will talk about how to pull your brand strategy together so that it is in alignment with who you are, who you want, or where you want to go, and how you want to be perceived in the marketplace. Whatever that is, right? We're going to look at that together, and then we're going to map out how we can start putting your brand strategy together. It won't happen overnight, but this call that you're going to schedule at calendly.com/I am Coach MJ is going to be the first step in moving you towards achieving that goal. So I want to invite you to book that call together. We are going to explore how to take your brand to the next level and elevate in 2025. So thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. If you found this helpful, please share it with a fellow entrepreneur or anybody. Really, these principles also apply to your personal brand as well. So just share it with anybody who wants to find different ways to elevate in 2025, but specifically entrepreneurs. And don't forget to subscribe, like this episode, share it, comment in the chat wherever you are watching this, and feel free again to book a call at calendly.com/I am Coach MJ. Until next time, keep building your brand with purpose, a purposeful presence, and ultimately your profit in mind. I will see